Hi Sagittarius, I hope you guys are doing great today. Welcome to your general messages for the beginning of October. So let's get into things. If you haven't noticed, or if you didn't get it in your feed, I did an astrology only video on the beginning energies for October. It was just way too much to talk about. So I did a separate astrology only video if you want to check that out. I'm still going to reference the astrology in this video, but just not to the depth and extent that I feel like it needs, because I have not seen a new moon like this in a really, really long time, guys. So Sag, you have this new moon happening in your 11th house of goals, gains, friendships, associations, your 5-year plan, your 10-year plan. So let's see what we have. I am going to talk about it, even though I did the astrology one. I'm going to be working it in here. So you're at the 10 of Pentacles right now. You're very focused on. Okay. Who's getting in your way right now, Sagittarius? You having your 10 of Pentacles. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we have the Emperor energy coming into this in the recent past. So some of you are in the space where you've very much taken control and taken charge of your life. And a lot of you, this could be like ending something or moving away from something, because in numerology, this is also the death card, right? So if this has to do with relationships, you might be in a space where you guys had to separate, at least for now, or something ended having to do with relationship. It doesn't have to be forever, because it's the death energy is about endings and beginnings. So if the bones of it, if the bones of the relationship, if the bones were good, you can get it back later on if it was ultimately good for you. Others of you, this could have been something falling through regarding a career or some sort of financial situation. And even though it was tough to deal with initially, this energy does indicate that there's something new coming in, like now, right? Because this is in the recent past coming in for you here in this energy. Some of you might have also been dealing with the idea of a move or some sort of energy around a move. Those of you who maybe if you ended something in that death energy and you were single, this could indicate you meeting somebody new who has sort of is in alignment with your values and your tradition. Some of you who are maybe were in the space where you guys separated, maybe there's this getting back together and you're speaking about your future in a very practical way, addressing very current issues within your relationship. But this can also indicate finances getting organized and balanced and all of that, you being in that space. But you may have been in this mindset of wondering if what you do or how something was rolling out was really speaking to your heart, or are you feeling stifled? Are you feeling very underwhelmed by something that you're trying to roll out right now? And the fact that we have this new moon in Libra in your 11th house, which does have to do with the salary that you make from the work that you do. And it has to do with that 5-year plan, that 10-year plan, and where it is that you want to go. So you have that new moon in there, but we have to talk about the fact that we have a couple of very special things going on. Let's talk about the quincunx first of all. Your moon and Mars in that 11th house are quincunxing Uranus retrograde in Taurus in your 6th house. What is your 6th house? It's your health, but it's also your day-to-day experience, including your daily work environment, who you work with, who you work for, who works for you, the environment. It also rules your pets, your small pets. So there is this tension between the money that you make and your work environment, where it is that you want to go, and maybe a situation that's going on with your health, what it is that you really want, and something going on with a pet, right? So that's the way, but there's this tension that's going on that you can't ignore. You have to address something there in the 3D actively. That's the deal with the quincunx. You can't ignore it. So there's that tension, and you're going to know it. Now, that's number one. Number two, the moon is going to be combust the sun. The moon is going to be close enough to the sun where normally you're like, oh, moon in Libra, emotions, feeling loving, feeling balanced, and all of that. Well, the moon is always a tricky issue, right? Because it rules our emotions, and our emotions always change, right? The moon changes every couple of days, right? But what happens when it's so close to the sun, it becomes combust. So you want to take the energy that's normally there in the moon, and you want to dampen it. You want to temper it. It's kind of weakened. And sometimes we like when the moon is weakened, I think, because the moon, yeah, it's about our emotions, but it also ends up inciting confusion and disappointment and a crisis of faith. Sometimes it's based on a false narrative that we create in our own mind, and we all do it from time to time, right? And it's where our emotional memory is very strong. So particularly towards things that have been disappointing and painful. It could also incite this feeling like whatever we're doing for money, right, as far as our career, we could be like, is it even worth it? I don't know if I even want to do this anymore, that kind of thing. But there's going to be a dampening of that, which I think is going to be very helpful, because at the same time, towards the end of the week, but I feel like the energy is just going to be happening with this whole week. Mars is Cazimi. So for those of you who don't know what Mars is Cazimi is, that's fine. It just means that Mars is sitting right on top of the sun. So you take Mars, which is fire, which is assertion, which is drive, which is desire. You put it on top of the sun, which is, the luminary that's like, this is how you're presenting to the world, right? So you can have a very, very strong drive as far as anything. You're going to be very hypersensitive to anything that's unfair in relationships, anything that's unfair in friendships, anything that's unfair in any sort of work association, anything like that. You're going to be very, very heightened to that energy. I want to say less specifically to romantic kind of situations. Not that you're not going to be mindful of that, but I feel like this is more of a broad sort of like, where am I going in my life, right? So a lot of you may be experiencing that. So there's a lot of energy going on, right, in that 11th house, and with that Uranus energy, it retrograde in Taurus in that 6th house. Again, there's this need that something needs addressing as far as your health, as far as your pets, as far as your day-to-day work environment, right? As far as moving yourself forward. Very interesting energy, though, that we're going to be having this month, because we're going to be feeling very protective of ourselves. We're going to be feeling very drawn to be heard, right? Because that Mars Cazimi is very, you're going to listen to me, damn it, kind of thing, right? Having to do with that work situation, or having to do with, again, something to do with your health. So don't be surprised if you're sort of like at odds with a medical professional, or, your therapist or something like that, or some sort of situation going on with your pets where there's some sort of tension in your day-to-day having to do with pets, some sort of situation like that. But we also have Pluto and Saturn finally going direct. So Pluto's going direct like right away, like 7 hours after the new moon hits on the 6th. And so that's happening in Capricorn in your 2nd house. So I really like that. I feel like some sort of opportunity is going to finally be rolling out, because what is Pluto? Pluto is all about transformation. Nothing stays the same where Pluto is, right? The purpose and the task of Pluto in our chart is to clear out the old and make way for the new, right? And so there's got to be this change. Now, Pluto's been in there wanting to change, but needing to think about things or approach things or have these conversations or have a lot of no's before the yes comes in. I feel like the yes is going to be coming in for you in the 2nd house of money, daily routines, possessions, your priorities, your work ethic, once Pluto goes direct. Now, there's going to be a lot of heightened energy, though, like on that day, a couple of days before, a couple of days after, because whenever a planet stations direct, please remember this always, whenever any planet stations direct, the energy is really heightened, really heightened. So just know, like, the heightened energy that you're going to be feeling this week is going to go well for you. There's goodness on the other side of that. Now, 4 days later, Saturn is going to be going direct. Saturn is hanging out in Aquarius in your 3rd house. That is a Mercury-ruled house. So what I do like about that, Saturn is about responsibility, boundaries, structure. No. But having it happen in the house of Mercury, even though Mercury is retrograde, I feel like if you've been trying to negotiate, communicate, and move forward some sort of situation having to do with launching an idea, a project, getting something published, and because it works with the 9th house, getting something out there, anything to do with your siblings, your extended family, your in-laws, anything like that, things are just going to start lightening up, even though Mercury's retrograde. The intensity of the stuckness that we've been feeling It's really not because of Mercury retrograde. That just that throws another cloak on top of everything. But it really does have to do with these outer planets that are all retrograde. That finally we're going to be going direct by the end of the year. So that Emperor energy makes total sense for me coming into this energy right now. But where are you at in the moment is this Ten of Pentacles, which is you're very focused on contentment. Right? Having to do with your money. You want to mature your money. You want to grow your bank account. You want to grow a family. This is even a will you marry me card. This is about maturity. This is about shared values, property. Some of you may be dealing head on with an inheritance situation. Some sort of payout, anything like that, right? We're kind of like this is a Mercury and Virgo energy, but keeping it real, I always feel like this is sort of a Scorpio energy as well, a Plutonian energy anyway. Anything that's cyclical, right, as well. Because inheritance is a cyclical energy. Shared property, that's an 8th house energy, right? Any element of sharing. So you're all about it. You're all about it. You're all about growing your money, manifesting something that's going to allow that opportunity to happen. But what is your challenge? We have the Four of Cups. So you're feeling very restless, very bored. And this is an energy where you're like, this isn't working out because of them. This isn't working out because of A, B, and C, because they're not showing up, because this isn't happening, because and you really want to be very careful that you don't get sucked into this energy of apathy where it's like, I don't even care what happens at this point anymore. I don't really care. Am I ever going to meet an energy that I really connect with? Is this project ever going to get off the ground? Is this ever going to happen? You want to be very careful. You want to be very careful because, how do I say this? All right. Specifically for you, I feel like you guys are the south node of the moon. There is some sort of fear that's running in you guys right now, that whatever is not working out, it's poking at that very fear. It's that fear, that element of this isn't going to work out. I'm going to end up staying small. It's not going to manifest into who I want. This relationship is never going to be A, B, and C. I'm never going to meet anybody. All of that is just very reflective of this fear of where you feel small and vulnerable. And I don't care how successful you are. Everyone can fall victim to this from time to time. It's part of the human condition. It just is. All right. So you're feeling held back, but be careful to not get sucked into that rabbit hole of negativity. It's not going to be easy. I just want to tell you that. It's going to be very easy for us to fall back on old patterns of behavior, old ways of dealing with things. And really the energy this month is like, don't do that. You are defining 2022 for yourself. You have to stand strong. Don't get sucked into anything from the past. Anything that if it didn't work out and it's not with you now in a productive way, chances are it's not going to be that moving forward. So drop it off with the trash, right? Let it out. Let it out. Don't try to revive something that's not working out for you. So we have, it's the basis of the situation, the Five of Pentacles, right? Testing of resources, fearing financial issues, trying to strategize a new way of handling this situation to see a way forward, if it has to do with money. Some of you may be feeling very afraid of losing the security of your home, or just fearing moving into the future and having this sense of lack. Even if you have enough right now, you're afraid of having that sense of lack moving forward. Some of you may be dealing with the pain with the pain of losing somebody close to you, either a relationship ending or passing away or something like that. But there is a lot more support available to you than you realize right now. And I mean that even in the way of money, because I feel like there's something you're not seeing yet, and not because your eyes aren't sharp enough, or not because you're not intelligent, but because something is not being shown to you yet. Something isn't being shown to you yet, but you're just very fed up and tired with something, because we have the current situation is the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands, you're feeling very overwhelmed right now. Lots of responsibilities. You're feeling very burdened. There's an overload of demands. You know there needs to be change, but you're not sure how to actually make that happen. It's like a catch-22 sort of situation. For those of you who are feeling a sense of lack in relationship, it could be because your relationship is being ignored. I say ignored, but maybe it's you're not paying enough attention to it because of other situations going on in your life, right? And you just need to pay attention to that right now, right? Or at least in the near future. But the Ten of Wands is almost the kind of energy where it's like you don't even want to hear it. Like as I'm saying it right now, you're like telling me to shut up. You know what I mean? Where it's like, yeah, I know, I'm feeling worried about my finances. Yeah, I know I need a new job. I know I need to do something different, but guess what? I don't have the time to look for a new job. I don't have the resources available to me to make that project happen, to open that business, to do whatever it is. And it's that heightened energy where it's that frustration that you're feeling because you want to do something, you want to feel something, you want to be on this particular path, and you could feel it so strongly. It's right there, but right now, the space that you're in at the very beginning of October, you're like, why isn't this working out for me? So Spirit said the word of advice here is King of Cups energy. There is a need that's existing right now to settle a conflict either within yourself or with someone else. You might be very unclear how to handle it, but you have to understand this is a Libra and Scorpio energy. Libra rules the 7th house of contracts, of your clients, of your marriage partner, of close interpersonal relationships, and Scorpio is all about change. So something needs to change, something's in the process of transforming, but also being in Libra, let's look at how everybody's emotional needs are being met, what's fair, what's not fair. We need to negotiate, there have to be contracts addressed, there have to be, all of these things are very necessary. Fairness in relationship, fairness in a business situation. So there's got to be this sort of, and it's not only a conflict within you, Sag. It's like, for example, let's say you're in a situation where you are you're going into business with somebody. I'm just going to use this as an example. And you know very clearly what you need. You have to pay attention to what they need as well, right? Because there's got to be fairness, Libra and Scorpio, during this transformation, this transition, okay? Now, somebody external to you is all about it, right? Because the energy external to you is Temperance. So, because this is attached to the Hierophant in numerology, expectations are going to be put forth, what's expected, but there's an energy of cooperation, of reconciling certain situations, where there's a new level of trust and patient cooperation that somebody wants to have with you after a challenging time period. So maybe something got off on the wrong foot. Maybe if you're in a relationship, you guys have been going through a really weird time period, where you just aren't feeling very connected. Somebody wants to temper that energy with you. It's beautiful. It is. But you might be dealing with somebody who views you as challenging to deal with or very sensitive. Maybe they think you're overly sensitive right now. Or maybe they think you're too aggressive and you're digging your heels in too much. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. They're all about tempering the situation with you. Now, we have the Nine of Wands is in your energy of challenge, psychological challenge. This is what you're feeling. So you're feeling very tired. You feel like this is a moon in Sagittarius. This is a moon in you, right? So moon is emotion, right? Very emotional. And you are all about moving forward with integrity. You're very focused on your future. Sagittarius, you are also about launching something, promoting something, advertising, marketing, signing on the dotted line, right? And you could be feeling very emotional while you're in this space, very emotional, and you're very tired of waiting for something to work out, but you're going to have the perseverance to see something through. Understand this is temporary. It is. It's still a minor arcana, even though it's a 9. So you might be feeling kind of defensive. That's okay. You just don't want to stay in that negative mindset. Nothing good is going to come out of that. Stay balanced, balanced, balanced. Careful approach to everything. Before you say anything to anybody about anything that feels left of center to you, you want to wash it through your filter. Again, be responsive, don't be reactive. You don't want to create any sort of permanent damage in this energy. So we have the Two of Pentacles in your near future. So the Two of Pentacles is about negotiation, right? Jupiter and Capricorn. I mean, this is this is just so in alignment with this 11th house energy. My goodness, right? It just is. I mean, Jupiter is about expansion, and it's in Capricorn, it's not in Capricorn. So it's about what do you need to expand and grow a situation when it comes to your future. Having to do with relationship, having to do with that job opportunity, whatever it is. But there's got to be this element of negotiation, and you're needing to make a decision regarding more than one path. And how do you do that? Well, you have to look at which path are you going to feel, do you feel now, or do you anticipate feeling the greatest sense of lack in? So maybe a lack in money. If you're presented with a job, and money's very on your priority list. So for some of you, maybe money's not on the priority. You just really want to be happy. So whatever matters the most to you, right? Identifying that, which path is going to serve that need the least. That's the one that you have to put down. Whether it comes to money, whether it comes to relationship, connection, whatever it is. But you're going to be in this, should I do this or should I do that kind of thing? Then we have the Knight of Wands as the final outcome energy, which is about firing up your ambition, beautiful energy, events speeding up, blocks being lifted, decisions coming in an area where you might be waiting for forward movement in. Yes, I'm telling you, very nice. Love it. Those are general messages. Let's see more specifically what's going on with relationships for those of you who care about that right now. Not everybody cares. Not everybody cares about relationship, but I'm going to pull a past, present, future, final outcome with clarifiers and some oracles. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Let me put all the energies down and then we'll... Perfect acceptance. Perfect acceptance. Dream a beautiful dream. Say what you mean. Do all things in moderation. I've been just kind of saying that to everybody. It's like one step at a time this month, one step at a time. So we have perfect acceptance, dream a beautiful dream, say what you mean, and do all things in moderation. Okay, so starting off in the recent past, we have the Star, feeling like you absolutely belong with somebody. If you are single, this is you. Really, it's like time for you to open up and meet somebody. That soul connection, somebody real. Not like a dating kind of, flipping around kind of energy. It's time, like you were feeling this time for you to get very, for those of you who are single, maybe you're making the decision here with the Ten of Swords energy. There's an ending where there was a history, right? It's like that final release, and something releases you from the frustration of a very, very challenging time period. So now you're able to transform into a healthier energy with the fresh eyes and a new mindset. So for some of you, because the Star is connected to the Strength energy, and the Strength is all about feeling tested in relationship and the need for balance. So I feel like a lot of you, if you were in a situation where you felt like you were not with an energy who's willing to meet you halfway, you ended it. You ended it, right? Others of you were in this space where you belong with somebody, and it's time to release anything negative in the past so that you guys can try to move forward and manifest more positive things for yourself, okay? But there's definitely this fresh path, a new perspective, whether you guys are in a long-standing relationship or not. I'm clearly feeling between the Star and the Ten of Swords and the Three of Wands and the Seven of Wands that there's this moving forward into a new cycle. The Three of Wands is new, right? Sun and Aries focus on a fresh path, a new perspective. This is one of the good fortune cards. For some of you, this can indicate a wedding. For others of you, this is just indicating that you're either in a very profound, important relationship that you're meant to be in, or that you're going to be meeting somebody. But the thing is, as you guys move into this new space, you're going to be doing things differently. You're going to be doing things unconventional for you, and whatever that means. So this could be you guys are moving away. Maybe you're moving, or maybe you're maybe you live together now and you're deciding to stay in the relationship but live separate, or anything that could be unconventional. But the key here is unconventional for you. For those of you who are ending a relationship here, the Sun in Aries can indicate you moving forward to be with somebody that is very out of the box from what you would normally be with. So maybe they're from a different land, different culture, physically different. Something about them is very different, or the way in which you meet them can be very different. So maybe you end up meeting them online, whatever it is. Whatever it is, though, it's turning your back on the past and totally focusing on the future. But as you're doing that, right, we have the Seven of Wands that's showing up here, this Mars and Leo, where you're identifying this need to protect yourself. Your morality, your personal philosophy is very, very important to you right now, on what you believe. And you might be in this space where you feel like you need to defend yourself. But those kind of obstacles you're going to be able to overcome. Again, this is a Seven of Wands. It's a minor arcana. This is not going to last a long time. But it's more about, I feel like it's more about like, all right, what matters to you? Okay, now you go. What matters to you, kind of thing. Now, the thing is, when you guys sit down to have this conversation, for those of you who are coupled, and talk about what does matter to you and what matters to them, there may be a lack of agreement, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to work it out. The Mars in Leo, Mars is about what you feel viscerally is the right thing for you, and in Leo, in that relationship. So feeling very passionate about something, but they're going to as well. So the two of you sort of need to work together. But what you can't do here, the kiss of death here, is going to be constantly bringing up the past if you guys have been together for a while, right? Because that Three of Wands is turning your back on the past. Not saying what happened in the past didn't happen. If you need to sit down and really, again, talk about everything that happened and put everything from the past where it needs to be and work through things to heal it, that's one thing. But if the past isn't healed and you keep bringing it into the future, you can't solve problems from where they began, right? So you have to go back and you have to address that and then clean the slate and then address the situation moving forward in a fresh way. In the near future, we have the Page of Swords, and that's being clarified by the beautiful Ace of Cups. So Page of Swords, new cycle, right? We're kind of establishing this already, right? This is the pattern here in this relationship. The Page of Swords it's a personification of air. And I feel like there's some sort of useful information coming in that's going to be very helpful to your relationship. So for some of you may be deciding to start therapy. Some of you may be communicating in a very different way, in a much healthier way. Some of you may be sitting down and really discussing the truth, right? Hardcore, like gut-opening truth, right? And then having this clarification of the Ace of Cups, for those of you who are in relationship, this can really incite feelings of very strong love, very strong support for a lot of you, for those of you in relationship. Now, for those of you who are not in relationship, right, if you're in this space where you're turning your back on the past and you're in this space where you want to do things differently, you're drawing a line in the sand, and I'm going to accept this in relationship, but I'm not going to accept that, this, that, right? We have this Page of Swords could absolutely be somebody new that you're meeting online. New relationship, falling in love, beautiful falling in love energy, okay, for those of you who are single. Now, finally, the final outcome for those of you in relationship, we have the Eight of Coins. Oh, we have two eights. Eight is the number of mastery. So very, very interesting, because we have, okay, I mean, such a page-turning energy. For those of you in relationship, nobody's going anywhere. The Eight of Cups is about having the emotional intelligence to understand, with sadness but no regret, that the way things have been going up to this point, can't do it anymore. It's not feeling right. It's not feeling right the way things have been up to this point. This is either you or an energy that you're dealing with. Now, for some of you, you might have even likely left the situation emotionally already, where you feel like you very much need to work on yourself, or they may have done that. The 8 is really about mastering the responsibilities, a need for a very logical and diligent approach, though, to this situation. So for a lot of you, this is going to be, you know, kind of going back to this. Whatever was not working before in the relationship, if we're going to stay in this relationship, we need to have the emotional intelligence to recognize what hasn't felt right in this relationship up to this point, and we need to work really hard. Maybe go to counseling, maybe have, like, you know, more consistent scheduled dates where we feel connected, where we can work on our relationship. All right, for those of you in relationship, there's a page turning energy, and I want to say this is a very fork in the road energy I'm feeling. This is a make or break energy that I'm feeling. Okay, now for those of you who are single, the 8 of Cups being clarified by the 8 of Coins, some of you may be realizing that whatever you're trying to get into is just not really aligning with you, and you just want to take a little bit of a break and work on yourself. You just want to focus on your responsibilities, focus on your work, focus on other elements in your life. Some of you may be manifesting like that. But there's, whatever it is, there's this important energy here that indicates you need to find perfect acceptance. Dream the beautiful dream. And I know that sounds very cheesy, but what does that mean? It's very like Piscean energy. Allow yourself to go there and be able to kind of draw in your mind's eye what it is that you really want in relationship. What do you want out of this relationship? What do you want out of any relationship? It's very important that you say what you mean. There's no double speak, no misrepresenting for you from anybody else. There's got to be hardcore truth, no manipulation, no passive aggressiveness. It's going to be very hard to not do that this month. This is a month of manipulation, you know, and I know that sounds really, really negative, but it's like almost trying to orchestrate a situation in a way for a particular outcome, for the betterment of, and the reason I want to say that is because I don't feel like there's even going to be any malice involved in this in relationship. No malice. It's, you know, you and a person that you're dealing with may both truly believe that you each know what's better for the situation, and you're going to try to strategize things in a way where you end up getting what you want, and they may be doing the same thing. So just like a little heads up. So everybody needs to say what they mean. And do all things in moderation, for heaven's sake, everything this month. This Mars Cazimi is going to be, it's, again, very, very heightened. So one step at a time. Deal with things one step at a time, in time. Really embrace the idea that things are retrograde. Even the couple of planets that are coming out of retrograde, we're still going to have Mercury retrograde, we're still going to have Uranus retrograde, we still have Chiron retrograde, we still have energies retrograde. Slowly as she goes, okay? All right, my friends, that is what I have for you. I hope this was helpful in some way. Have a very beautiful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.